Well, hello there, David Bruno in Montreal. How are you, sir?
Adam, I'm doing great. How you doing?
I am fantastic. Welcome back to the Max Statman Podcast, Episode 8. Yes, folks, I know we promised something on Monday or Tuesday, and it is now Thursday. You might be listening to this, and it's Friday. But we had a slow week. We had to gather some information, but we have gathered that information. But before we get started, David Bruno in Montreal, I heard you got a package in the mail. You want to show me that little package?
I did get a package in the mail. We got a package in the mail from our friends over at Turin Giants, and they
Ah,
sent us someone who's almost local considering we're in Canada. He's not
is
too
that
far from the
is that
States.
Texas boy Weston McKennie?
Guys, did I mention my uncle lives in Houston? I've spent a lot of time out there. We've got Texas boy out here, Weston
That
McKennie. Look at this decal here. Great
that
quality.
is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sticker.
I
And
haven't
if
decided where I want to put it yet. We've got the
wow,
Turin Giants here in black and white, and then we've got the Turin Giants in gold. And guys,
Farhad with the
yeah,
hookups.
I got
Where can I
a
get
little
some of
note
those,
from
David
Farhad as
Bruno?
well. Well, if you guys are interested in supporting Turin Giants, they've got a great podcast. We're both fans of them, and they're actually the longest running
Long term.
English-speaking Juve
Let's just put it
podcast
like
out there.
this: if it wasn't for a guy like Farhad, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. So I owe a lot to that guy, and I just want to say what's up to Farhad. And thank you, sir, for the beautiful stickers from my good
Thank you
friend
very much,
David
guys.
Bruno. He sent you a little message there, Dave.
Yeah, he said
You want
thanks
to
for
keep
the
it between you?
support. I had
Oh,
reached out
okay.
to him, and I want to show his website here. So Turin Giants, they have some merchandise here, and you can pick up some Claudio Marchisio stickers here.
With those big ears,
We've got the McKinney, and
Texas boy.
I
Where's my
like this
big
hoodie
eared?
here.
Where's my big eared
I like
Marquisio?
this
Let me
hoodie
see that
here,
one.
and then we've got the CR7. Which one do you want to see?
The big eared Marquisio. Does he have it? Oh yeah, he's got his weird ears. Yeah,
There
they
we
did a good
go,
job. He did a
Marchisio.
good. They did his ears perfect. He's got those big elf ears. Yeah, they did a great
Marchisio.
job.
What a
Beautiful,
stud!
beautiful.
Yeah, guys. Oh wow, look at this.
Yeah,
This is pretty cool.
even as he was a kid, he had those elf ears.
I like with the zoom. All right, enough with the ears here. So,
Enough with the
guys,
plugging. David Bruno, it has been a, well, I won't say it was been a busy week, but we got some few stories. We got a new CEO of Juventus, Maurizio Arrivabene. We got a
yes, we have.
whole lot of transfer rumors.
Yeah. So
And
let's
what else
get
do we
right
got?
into it, guys.
Okay, so Maurizio Arrivabene, the new CEO of Juventus. And there was a lot of speculation online if this was going to happen, and it finally was made official the other day. And a lot of people have been messaging me, Adam, who is this Maurizio Arrivabene? Even my good friend and my partner here, David Bruno, was messaging me trying to inquire who Maurizio Arrivabene is. And our very own prodigy Tanino did a very good
Great article
article,
on it.
as usual, explaining who Maurizio Arrivabene is. Dave, why don't you read a couple of paragraphs or a couple of sentences from this article
So
and just give a
basically,
brief rundown?
Arrivabene was born in Brescia in '57. He's worked all over the world in terms of marketing and promotions. He joined different companies. He's been in Switzerland with Philip Morris. He was a manager, event marketing, and then a director with the company, also a vice president. So he's worked his way up the chain. He worked at Marlboro. Guys, I don't advise smoking. But he did work at Marlboro for a very long time. He was the
No
vice
cigarettes.
president of consumers channel and strategy. So this guy is a pure businessman. He's been at Ferrari for a very long time as well.
And that's where I
Um,
am most familiar with Mr. Arrivabene. It was his time as at Ferrari. As you know, I'm a huge Formula One fan.
Give us
And,
a little bit of a rundown there, Adam.
so people were asking me right away, who's this Arrivabene and what's his role going to be? What's the CEO? What does this mean for Agnelli? What does this mean for Nedved? Let me explain to you guys something. This means absolutely, really it means nothing. Maurizio Arrivabene, he was the team principal at Ferrari. And basically at Ferrari, he was, how can I put this? He was Andrea Agnelli, team principal. He ran the whole show at Ferrari, and he did a fantastic job. We're kind of in the dark ages right now. We're going on 11, 12 years of no championships with at Ferrari. So he came into that period where Mercedes is pure dominating, and he happened to have a car that was doing pretty good. His main driver was Vettel. He signed Vettel to a big contract, but I would think that his main role and his best role with Ferrari is what he's going to be doing pretty much with Juventus, and that's handling the Italian press and the English-speaking press, which is huge. And you know, for a brand like Juventus, having someone handling the press, you need that. Yeah. And Arrivabene, that's what he's going to bring. When Paratici left, that was the first thing I thought to myself. I said, who are they going to bring in to speak to the press? Because for the last 6 months, it was always Paratici. Yeah. Before games, after games, it was always Paratici answering the call. And my explanation for that was, well, who else better? They knew he was going to be out the door. They probably went to Paratici and said, you're gone, so we're going to put you in front of the cameras. You're going to be the one to say that everything's good. Pirlo's going to stay, yada, yada, yada. But we all knew that was BS. It was just PR, public relations.
Who did it before Paratici?
I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. It was always something that was shared between Nedved and Paratici, but near the end,
Morata at one point before, right?
Well, that was before.
Yes,
of course. But I was talking about it in this regime. In this regime, it was always Nedved and Paratici, and it seemed near the end, it was always Paratici. So that's going to be the big thing for Arrivabene. I think Arrivabene comes into this team, and I'm not so sure what he's going to be doing behind the scenes. I don't know. He's always been look. He's been on the board for a while. He's sat on the board at Juventus, so we know that. But now it looks like he's actually in the building every single day. So I'm not sure if that means he's going to have input, like say a Paratici and Nedved have with Agnelli, or if he's just there strictly to handle the media and be the face of the Bianconeri during the Allegri era, during the second era of Allegri. I'm not too sure what much more he can bring.
So he could take a big role in the press and kind of alleviate having Paratici and Nedved kind of sharing that.
Look at that picture right on the screen.
In the old regime, it was more of Beppe Marotta was the face in the press, right?
Exactly. Look at that face right there. That's a beautiful man. No?
It's a man, a very bold man.
And that's a man you want with optics. You know, yeah. If you're a president of the United States, you want optics to always look good. Same if you're the president of Juventus. You always want optics to look good. And with Maurizio Arrivabene, I can tell you, he's a classy man, can handle both languages perfectly, knows how to handle the press in a calm, composed manner.
And he knows business.
And he knows business at the same time. He knows business at the same time.
He will be able to go for the right intentions for the club in terms of of development, in terms of growth, in terms of monetary growth, but as well as performance growth on the pitch.
That was his job with, as you mentioned, Don't Smoke Kids. His job at Philip Morris and at Marlboro were essentially to grow the brand and make the brand more popular.
That's right.
The more popular you get, the more people smoking, the more money he made. That's exactly the same thing he's going to be doing for Juventus. It's just expanding the brand, making the brand more popular. I don't see him getting hands-on and technical in sense of telling Agnelli which players and Cherubini which players he thinks we should be signing.
we know that Allegri has more power, so Allegri will be able to voice that a little bit more now.
I think I think in sense of that, you're looking at a partnership between Cherubini and Allegri, and then you go straight to the top to Nedved and Agnelli. So yeah, he's not going to be taking on a role where he'll be involved with player transactions at all. It's all going to be behind the scenes business and in front of the cameras. You might even see him go on the microphones to DAZN before the game even starts. That could be the role he takes too, right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
So a man for the press and a man for the business and the handshakes behind closed doors.
Yeah, but I don't see him ever getting involved in our next topic. And our next topic is, of course, transfers and transfer
My favorite.
rumors. And a big one that
Mercato.
came to us today, a big tweet from our friends over at Forza Juve. There was a tweet today linking...
Wait. We've got one thing first, actually.
What's
more
that,
breaking
sir?
than that.
What's that?
So we just got a message from a Korean journalist on our Max
David
Statman
Bruno.
Instagram account.
Exclusive.
And they shared a link with our other man, Romeo Agresti.
And what I think it had to do with our man, Mr. Kim. And I think I have a little exclusive from Romeo. Romeo, what's the situation going on behind the scenes with Mr. Kim? You know anything about this Korean monster, Romeo? Please share with us. Romeo, you there?
According to my sources, Juventus are evaluating this situation because this contract will expire in the coming month, and Juventus are evaluating the opportunity to buy this player in synergy with another club, for example with Sassuolo. Nothing sure at the moment, but we'll see what will happen because the scouts of Juventus have analyzed the grow up of this player, but that's not done. That's not an imminent deal. We'll see if Juventus will decide to push on this line in collaboration with another club, because I don't think that Kim Min-jae is ready to join immediately Juventus.
To make the jump.
After step by step, maybe after firstly an experience in Italy with a different shirt, but in synergy with the Bianconeri.
Romeo Agresti, the
what a
GOAT.
legend. He carries this all on his shoulders, this man.
Romeo Agresti, the GOAT, with an update.
He's a
Thank you,
legend.
Romeo. You can go to sleep now in Italy. It's very late over there.
So he's
Thank
talking
you
about
so
Kim
much.
Min-jae. He's a big center back. They call him the monster out there in
Playing in the
Korea.
Chinese league, in the Super League in China.
Yeah, with Beijing Guan. He's got. He also has. So he's a big center back. He's 24 years old. Now, I did see a rumor about potentially, if we were to sign him, maybe sending him on loan to Sampdoria for 2 years. Completely speculative, but that's kind of what we're getting at. And then we've got this information recently from Goal Korea, and in collaboration with Romeo Agresti.
Can I give a shout out to all our friends in Korea, by the way, that I didn't even know we had fans out in Korea?
Of course.
Just want to give a shout out to all the Korean Juventinis. Didn't know there were so
Ciao, guys.
many of you out there. I know there is one who is maybe listening right now, so I just wanted to give a big shout out to our boys in Korea. And yes,
And thank you for the message on Instagram.
Thank you for the message on Instagram. And I have seen your boy Kim, and you know, for the national team, he comes as advertised. He's a big monster in there. He kind of, well, that's his name, but he kind of reminds me of a Chiellini in his prime. Is he ready for Serie A right off the bat? Well, are a lot of young players ready for Serie A right off the bat? So I think
Probably
maybe a
not.
year with a French club, Sassuolo, would probably do him good. David Bruno, you have any last thoughts on our Korean monster?
I mean, there's not too much info about him. We'll have to try to catch some videos on YouTube, check him out there. But normally Juventus know what they're doing in the transfer market, and as proven, they're pretty good at scoping out young talent. So he could be another one of those.
Very, very good. So one rumor we woke up to this morning that we've been hearing. I mean, we've been hearing Milinkovic-Savic rumors for, I don't know, last 3-4 years now, seems. But it's come back today, and Juventus have made contacts with Milinkovic-Savic.
That's right.
But, of course, Juventus is not the only team interested. So we know Lazio's owner has said for a long time that, yeah, there will be a time to come, that there will be a time in the future where I will do what's right for him, and I will sell the player. But he's not going to give him away for free.
No.
So with this guy here, if you want this quality player, you're going to have to pay. David Bruno, what do you think of Milinkovic-Savic? I don't know. I've never really rated the player too highly. I know there's a lot of Juventini are probably shaking their heads when hearing me say that. But when I think of transfers from Lazio, I always think back to the good old days of when we got Pavel Nedved. And for me, I think that's the expectation I want is if we're going to do a high transfer like that, I want a Nedved quality player. And for me, he is not there. What do you think of the player, Dave?
I mean, he's a good player. He scores goals. He sets up players for goals so he can create. He can shut down forwards. He can win battles in the midfield. The one thing I do see and hear about him is he doesn't always have 90 minutes in his legs. He had 8 goals and 9 assists this year, so clearly he's putting out numbers that our midfield does not generate, that we'd appreciate very much to have, and that would essentially help us win games. So we do know that we lack this creativity. We lack someone who could score goals, who could set up from the midfield. This guy is a big, strong guy who stays up there in the middle. And as I said, he can defend, he can create, he can score goals, he can play pretty passes, find players in open spaces. I mean, after we lost Pogba, we were linked to this player, and we wanted him for a couple of seasons. And last year did not want to get rid of him.
It seems like when we got rid of Pogba, we never got that true replacement, and that's what
we never got
Juve
that style of player.
Exactly. When we usually sell guys, especially if it's a high-profile guy like Pogba. Going back to saying the Zidane days, we sold Zidane. And it was not a problem for me because right away we brought in Nedved. And with Nedved, I always felt like we were getting the same quality. I know Zizou is Zizou. Of course Zizou is the GOAT. But I was never too upset when we got Nedved. I felt that he came and he filled Zidane's shoes perfectly.
He's a great player. He's still with the club.
And in some senses, he even added more to the club. I'm not sure.
He's still there.
I'm not sure for the money, though. SMS is the guy. I love him. He's a great player and all, but the money I'm hearing, between 60 and 80 million euros.
Yeah, they've dropped it. They've dropped it from didn't they want like 20 million at one point a couple of years back?
They were never going to get that. They were never going to get that.
Of course not.
Come on.
Of course not. Now
I wanted
1.5
for my house. I just sold it for 1.2. We're never going to get that, bro. Never going to get that.
So moving on, we've got another guy here that a lot of people would like to have. We've got Manuel Locatelli.
Now, this is a rumor that's been going on for about a year now. The former Milan player who crashed out of Milan, and now he's with Sassuolo, and he's looked impressive with Sassuolo, and not only just with Sassuolo, of course, with the Italian national team, with the Euros coming up in 8 days. We expect him to be a big part of that team. And that's the danger, Dave. That's the danger here, is that if he goes on and has a great Euro, I mean, there are so many teams linked with this guy, not just Juventus. Right. And we're talking about teams with deep pockets. We're talking about teams like PSG. If PSG want the player and he has no problem signing with PSG, I'm going to tell you something, Dave. He's going to PSG.
Yeah.
What do you think of Locatelli, and what do you think of his move to possible PSG or any other place?
I mean, the two clubs that we're hearing a lot of talk about is PSG and Manchester City, and as you said, they have very deep pockets. Normally, when they want a player, they get that player because they'll pay a premium or they'll overpay for the player just to secure their signature. So, I mean, he's someone that a lot of Juventini have been speaking about. Everybody's really likes the player. He could have fit Pirlo's system. He can fit Allegri's system. He can play as a
fits Allegri's system perfect.
Exactly. He can be that quarterback, the one to drive and dictate the game out the back. The one to play long balls, to find players running into open spaces. He can run up into the attack, but he likes to hang back and dictate the game with his passing.
He does like to hang back, but as a regista, I see him too much up on the field on the left side. I think if he wants to play that role, he's got to drop back a little bit more and play more on the right, which I don't know if he can do that because he has that beautiful right foot, and that's why you always see him on the left flank, because that's where he likes to swing in those balls. He loves to bring in, I wouldn't say Quadrado type crosses. He's more of the type of player that brings in that ball over the top of the mid. And that's something Juve has been lacking for a long time. Someone who can bring in that ball to the number 9. The number 9 can bring it down. You know, that goes on to Zapata ball kind of thing.
And We've seen him make some great passes when we play against him. Now he can also put the ball in the net. He had 4 goals this year. He only had 2 assists, but in a team like Juventus, with the quality that we have, that can change. Getting him into more attacking spots while we play a stronger attacking game and have more minutes in our opponent's end of the pitch.
What do you think, Dave? You think Locatelli is Bianconeri bound? Personally, I'm going to give my opinion right now. I know he's got the big clubs calling PSG, the guys with the wallets, the dirty money in Manchester City. But for some reason, I just think he's using them as leverage to get the contract. I think in the end, he's going to go to Juve because that's where he wants to be. He wants to be in Italy.
He's a homeboy. He's Italian, young Italian player, talent. I believe he's 24, if I'm mistaken, yes. Early 20s. Now he's someone that would fit our profile perfectly in terms of the rejuvenation and the squad that we're trying to build at Juventus. Now, Sassuolo's CEO, Carnevali, he wants about 40 million. He said the right offer hasn't come in. I've heard some speculation about, I believe, a 5-year contract at 3 million per season was offered to Locatelli. Now, the one thing about Locatelli is I'm also hearing that he does want to move to Juventus. He does want to play for the club. So these are a couple of things that we're hearing, and as you can see,
if an Italian boy wants to stay in Italy, who would you rather pick? Italy, or how do I put this in nice terms? A crap hole like Manchester. Where do you want to be? I'd say in Torino. But here's another name that's been coming up, and I hate saying this name because it's been the name for about a year now. Last summer was the trendy name. 2 years almost. We had his mom go on television and in Arabic tell the host that she dreamed, God willing, my son will play for Juventus. Of course, we're talking about the one and only French national, Houssem Aouar. And we got a tweet late last night from, not a tweet. He was actually on our good friends at the Stripes show. He was on with our friend Matteo, and they were talking about Aouar and the possibilities of him coming to Juve. Now, the possibilities aren't too high, but it's still there. Juve remain interested in Aouar, but of course, the Super League, that kind of hampered negotiations, especially with a team like Lyon. So, Aouar, if we don't get Locatelli, Juve and the transfer market is still going on. It may be something we circle back on, but I really see them wanting that Italian player first. What do you think, Dave?
One is that they had a good show, Stripes, with Mirko Di Natale, and he provided some great info, so a big thank you there. Now, the player, he's good. He's very young. He's got a lot of years ahead of him to grow. He was just playing in the U21 Euro Cup for France.
Right there, Dave. He is still so young.
He's very young. I believe 22 years old. So he's early 20s. He's got time to develop. You can grab him. You can mold him. You can implement a little bit of strategy that Allegri has into his head if that's the player he wants. Now, I'm all for the Italian rejuvenation, the Italian squad. I do believe Juventus do need more Italian players, but I'm not opposed to any nationality. At the end of the day, we need
of course,
players.
And neither am I. If it's
exactly no. I don't think anyone got that impression out of us either way.
Exactly.
We love everyone. Now, the guy, he scored 7 goals this year in League One. Now, I know it's a bit different compared to Serie A, but you know that he can score goals. And he's also set up 3 assists for Lyon this year. So he's also been an attacking player. Now, us as Juventini, I believe we've said it before on the podcast, we have basically been fixated on this player who played good against us a couple of years ago in the Champions League. It's been an obsession. It's been an obsession. I think if you're looking for that profile, Rodrigo De Paul, can you compare both players?
One thing I like about Aouar is that age number, and
De
coming
Paul's
in with
older.
Allegri now, we got a brand new project going. I mean, who better than Allegri to mold the player from day one, right? So if you're asking me, Locatelli or Aouar, it's so even for me. It really is. It really. Now they bring a different
players
set.
though.
Different players too. Different type of players.
We could almost use both of them.
It's true, and if we were to bring in a player like Houssem Aouar, I really don't see a need for a guy like Artur. Because Aouar brings kind of the same qualities as an Artur. Maybe even better qualities. I mean, Artur has been known for taking that ball and going side to side. Aouar is a ball carrier, but he's a ball carrier that's going forward, dude. Forward.
Artur could play a little bit more in the middle of the field. Aouar, you want him more up there.
Yeah,
for sure. A little bit higher there. He's definitely very attacking minded. Let's talk about some outgoings here.
Yeah, well, we got another big tweet yesterday. Well, another big announcement, I guess you want to say. And again, from our friends over at the Stripes Show, Miko Di Natale dropped this bomb that, of course, Demiral, I think it's going to happen. He's on his way out the door. Price tag, 35-40 million. A lot of teams in the EPL are interested. They have been for a while.
Yep.
Tottenham is monitoring the situation. Everton has been a big fan of the player for a long time. I've named a raccoon, of course, that I rescued last summer after the player because I loved the player so much. But, I'm also a businessman too. And being 35 years old and a little bit more mature, if the player's got to go, the player's got to go. Dave, what do you think?
He's got potential. He's a young player. He came back from that injury. He seems to still have it in him. He's a bit hot-headed, aggressive player. He makes some reckless tackles and moves at times.
Well, let's talk about that Champions League F-up. I mean, it seemed after that happened, he wasn't getting any more time after that. And I think that's when he became kind of a liability for me and that I wanted to get rid of him.
Yeah, and then you see him when he does get on the pitch, he's still a bit aggressive. He gets carded easily.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I mean, we have Dragusin coming up, who's very young. We need to make some money this summer. Demiral could very well be someone who is sold.
So for you, Demiral, in or out? I say out.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I see. Let's take some profit. Let's take some profit. Let him play somewhere else.
Now, how about we talk about an old friend of ours? And today was confirmed over in Barcelona, Spain, that Koeman will be returning as the head coach of Barcelona. And with that announcement, we have an old friend of ours named Miralem Pjanic. Of course, the Serbian national who played 4 years for Juventus, most of that time under Max Allegri. This is a player we both fancied for a while, but we've admitted to ourselves in the chat that when we got Miralem Pjanic, he was never quite the Miralem Pjanic of Roma. The Miralem Pjanic of Roma was someone I thought was one of the best players in the world. Would you welcome back Miralem Pjanic with open arms now that he's stated that he doesn't see a future at Barcelona now that Koeman has been confirmed?
I mean, he really did not play this year. He only had 6 starts, 619 minutes, 19 appearances. He wasn't depended on at all. Koeman doesn't trust him. We saw Pjanic somewhat degrade while he was with us as well.
He did.
It really depends on what else can we do. What else does this Mercato have? What else can we obtain from this Mercato? Can we get someone who can attack? Are we ready to put out some money? Can we get Pjanic cheap? Can we do the rumored exchange of, let's say, a Bentancur for Pjanic? It really depends on what they're able to do, what their budget is right now, right? Pjanic could be...
Mr. Sight of Pawn Transferman, I wanted to ask you this question. Who won the swap, in your opinion? Barcelona or Juventus? I'm talking about the Pjanic Artur swap.
Artur is upside. Artur's got more upside.
Being the younger player, right?
He's a lot.
I think right now that's what saves it.
Much younger player. He's got upside, and apparently PSG is interested in him. That's speculation as well. But PSG seem to be a fan of Artur.
He seems like a PSG player.
He's someone that we can, let's say we keep him and he plays half the games next year, 20 games, and he gets a couple of assists. He plays pretty well. He's someone we could probably turn for a profit given his young age.
And that's what I was about to say, Dave. I mean, yeah, you see Arthur with the ball, and what can you not love about the guy? The ball.
He's great on the ball.
The ball sticks to his feet like crazy glue.
Like that. Glue. What was that I saw you tweeted out the other day? And of Conte and his hair, and you got a great reply from
our good friend Alberto from All Juve Cast, folks. If you're looking for more Juve content, of course, follow our good friend Al at All Juve Cast on Twitter. You can find him on all platforms, and he sent us that great tweet of
Al's great.
And that's exactly what the ball was is on his feet is Gorilla Glue, but
literally.
To me, this year, that's all I saw from Arthur was just a guy when he has the ball at his feet, it's basically, you know what he is? He's just like a guitar player having his own little guitar solo. But that's all he's bringing. That's all he brings, really.
I've seen him play a couple of nice passes, but he kind of goes to the side, the edges.
If we can get his worth, like, what was his worth when we did the Pjanic swap? I think it was Pjanic was valued at something like 50 million euros, and Artur was valued at 60, or was it 70?
Yeah, I think
60?
something
like that. If we can get his value 60, 70 million in cash, I'll take that all day.
But if you look at his stats here, so his last season with us, he did have 8 assists in Serie A. We're not getting that from the midfield. I believe 2 years ago, the highest we had from the midfield was Bentancur with 6 assists. But if you look at his points, right, we never got the same player from Roma. The 10 goals, the 10 assists.
Never got that guy, no.
5 goals, the 10 assists. He scored a couple of free kicks, but his numbers dropped. I know he played. I believe he played a little bit further back at Juve than he played at Roma. I think he was a little bit more attacking freedom at Roma, but he's a player. Like, he's getting older. He seems to be winding down now. He's definitely got some skill on the ball. He could definitely perform. Who knows? Maybe he should go back to Roma, reunite with Mourinho.
How crazy would that be? How crazy would that be? As if we end up selling Artur to PSG for big money, and we end up bringing back Pjanic on the cheap.
I mean, or there's the potential swap of Bentancur.
Yeah,
for Pjanic.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost like 2 for 1.
How about we talk about Donnarumma? A lot of people online talking about him already signed for Juve. I've seen a lot of goofy people talking about percentages, 99.96% chance he signed, and then you see other things coming out that Barca's willing to open their pockets. PSG, we're going to put him in the freezer for a year, and he was going to be okay with that, only because the amount of money that they're willing to offer him. We're looking at maybe somewhere between 10 and 12 million euros. I don't think Juventus can match that, by the way. I don't think they're going to be matching 12 million euros for Donnarumma. I would love Donnarumma here. That's the big thing. But, of course, to get Donnarumma, we would have to get rid of Tech first. And, how many teams interested in Tech? We got tweets today saying that from Giovanni Albanese stating that, of course, that there would be a swap deal proposed between Florenzi and Tech. Now, of course, that would solve a number of issues for both clubs. But one thing, it doesn't solve. Well, it would solve issues for the club, but it would get. What I'm trying to say is that's impossible to get done. I don't see that swap happening anytime soon. You see that swap happening?
I mean, if anything, if we really wanted Florenzi, we should have got him when Roma was shopping him out and before he went to PSG. If we did get him, we can... What do? We push Cuadrado a little bit higher up the pitch, and he plays attacking like he did in the last couple of games. I'm not 100%. I do see that as something that will happen. but there is talk of Tech potentially going back to Roma. There was also the rumors about Arsenal, but apparently that was squashed. Arsenal isn't interested in them.
I believe Fabrizio Romano squashed those rumors himself.
But it is known that they are on the market for another goalkeeper. Yep. They do want to kind of get rid of Leno. They're looking at another player. Anyways, Donnarumma, look, Barcelona has the same problem as us. They would need to get rid of Ter Stegen.
That's right.
They would need to find a new club for him because he's their number one. Now, I find it a little bit outrageous to think that he's going to go to PSG and be loaned out to a club in Italy or something like that for a year, but who knows at this point? Donnarumma has been called a greedy person. I think Donnarumma just wants to go to a club he believes has a true chance to win the titles that his ambition feeds his desires to. But there was talk about Juventus offering him a 10 million euro contract not long ago as well. There's talk about the players interested in playing with the club. There's nothing proven right now. There's just all you're really hearing is PSG, which is starting to heat up a little bit, but before it was mainly just Barcelona or Juventus. Hopefully we get him. I'd like to see him come. If he does come, and if we don't retain Pinsolio, that means we could potentially have 3 new keepers coming in. I believe Donnarumma goes with his brother, Antonio. They're like a package deal. That's my opinion. But I'm all for it. I still would like to have him at Juventus. Hopefully we could find a way to help Tech find a good club, a good situation for him, and we could go invest in a goalkeeper that's a young player. He'll be there for a very long time. That's what we need.
Should we talk about CR7 a little bit?
Yeah.
More rumors, swap deals possible with Man United. Could be going to PSG. We saw rumors of PSG wanting to put him up with playing with Mbappe and Neymar. We would get a Icardi in return. Man United, the name, of course, Pogba, we know from Mino Raiola hasn't been happy there for a while. And a swap deal could be proposed. Which one would you want? Would you want the Pogba deal or the Icardi deal? For me, it's 100% Paul Pogba.
It's a good question. I mean, realistically, if we get rid of Ronaldo, we need to replace him with a guy who can score, 25, 30 goals a year, which Icardi is fully capable of doing. I don't put my trust in him personally. I would rather another striker over him or different options over him. So I'm going to go with Pogba because, like we said before, since we let him go, we haven't had a player similar that in that style who's really an all-around player. He can defend. He can press in the midfield. He can get into attacking zones. He can score. He can set up goals. He's just a dynamic player from all aspects.
I'm not up for buying Pogba. Don't get me wrong. I'm not up for buying Pogba. I wouldn't spend a cent on him.
I would swap for him, though.
But I would swap for him in a heartbeat. For him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, he's got 1 year left on his contract, similar to Cristiano.
Similar apparently to our next topic. Yeah.
Wait a sec. So Cristiano, apparently we want 25 to 30 million for him. Manchester United have spoken to him. They are one team that's very open to taking him. And that's about it. So there's potential. I don't know if the swap will go through, but I think if Man U can make it work, they could potentially take him off our hands if the player wants to go. Of course, he decides.
I was trying to segue into when you're talking about 1 year left on contracts to another player of ours who has 1 year left on his contract, and that's of course Paulo Dybala. Now,
that's right.
It seemed like for about a year and a half now that Paulo Dybala was going to be gone. Was it going to be, were we going to find a team for him? Were we just going to let his contract expire? That would have been the craziest scenario. But now, with Max Allegri's return, it seems like there's new life for Dybala. And it seems like a contract is on the horizon. Maybe we were hearing 4 years to align with Massimiliano Allegri. What do you think of Paulo Dybala being signed to a 4-year, 40 million euro contract? 10 million per year plus bonus.
I mean, a lot of people are frustrated with his performance over the last year, given the numerous injuries, COVID, the situations, the continuous pain in his leg, and the fight for proper form and a run of consistent games.
As mad as you get at the player, you see a game like Bologna, and it's just
he was outstanding. So the way I see it is, it was an underwhelming season. It's basically a write-off. He was an MVP under Sarri, playing a little bit differently. He did his best under Allegri. He came to Juventus, and he was under Allegri.
And it didn't
he
seem
scored
like
a
they
lot
always
of goals.
got along.
Yeah.
I said they never always got along, and he still succeeded. That's what gives me so much optimism with him signing this contract and being aligned with Allegri again, that I do believe it can work.
And
Dybala
we've seen
is a special
Allegri,
player.
and we've seen Allegri fit him into different positions on the field as well.
Yep.
So he was able to use his versatility and aid where the team needed aid the most. I think that Allegri's a fan of the player. The player loves Juventus. I don't think that's deniable. I think that they could offer him that same offer of $10 million, and Dybala will at that point have to settle for it. I'm pretty sure that the fact they're offering the 4-year contract aligned with Allegri's, he's Allegri's man, and Allegri wanted to years ago to dispose of other players and build and focus around Dybala.
Yeah, and it really looks like what Allegri wants, Allegri is going to get. And Allegri wanted.
He's got that power now.
He got that power, and here's a power move. He brought back one of the former members of course, famed BBC, Andrea Barzagli.
He wants to.
Well, he wants to. It's not official yet, but I think in the coming days, it'll be all but official. There's no rush on this, of course. It's not like there's any players there to train right now, anyways.
That's right. If I'm not mistaken, he was part of the staff even under Sarri, and he left right at the beginning of the regime.
That's right.
Probably
he was working a lot with Quadrato, I can remember.
He's an amazing.
I think that was his main purpose at the time, was to come in and that's when Quadrato was first dropped back to a fullback position on the right side. And I think that was the thinking, to bring in Andrea Barzagli to help out Quadrato with more defensive responsibilities. Because before that, Quadrato was, of course, playing as a forward on the right flank.
Yep.
And then we've dropped him back to the right side. And now with Barzagli coming back. Yeah, Dave?
No, I'm laughing because he was playing as a right winger.
Yep.
He dropped as a right back, a fullback. And he ended the season as a winger again this year.
Yep.
That's why I'm laughing.
Edgar Tudor.
He can play everywhere.
Edgar Tudor had an interview this week, and he made some comments. I really didn't want to touch too much on this subject because it just sounds such freaking high school drama. Basically saying that, we made Champions League, and I don't know. We know he didn't. Go ahead.
He's
Dave.
upset. He's upset he got let go.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying it was tough. They made the Champions League. They won the Italian Cup, and yet they kicked us out. He's sorry. He doesn't find it right. He decided he'll never be an assistant ever again.
Well,
he said that at Juve, Pirlo had called him. There was a list of 5 names compiled by Paratici and Juve. Pirlo had the ultimate choice. He chose him, but also being a close friend of Baronio, he took him as well. He was an analyst, and Tudor didn't like the fact that an analyst was at the same level of assistant coach as him. It wasn't fair. He's a coach. He only accepted it because it's Juventus.
Yeah.
So in other words, that was a big problem for him, and he didn't make a fuss about it because he's at a big club like Juventus.
Edgar Tudor just proved one thing to me, and that's he's an idiot. Because with these comments now, dude, you think you're ever going to get a big job in Europe ever again? You'll never be an assistant again? Well, let me tell you something. That's all you're going to be is an assistant, unless it's with a farmers club. So have fun coaching in Croatia and Serbia is all I got to say about Edgar Tudor.
Or speculative Verona.
Verona. Okay, go ahead. Go to Verona.
Enjoy.
You know, one thing that I forgot to write in our topics, and I'm just gonna wing it right now before we go, Dave, was our boy Federico Bernardeschi was talking a lot of nonsense this week, and off the top of my head, he basically had a fantastic game again for the Azzurri, popping in a goal and a couple assists. Of course, it was against San Marino. But before we talk about that, I just want to say that was a big win for the Azzurri against San Marino. I know it's only San Marino, but in the past you would only see teams like, or you would see Azzurri teams only beating a team like San Marino 3-0, and teams like France beating San Marino 5-6-0. So for them to beat San Marino 7-0, it's a good sign. But Bernardeschi, what do you think of the comments he had to say? Basically undermining Pirlo the whole time, blaming. To me, it was like he was blaming Pirlo for his poor performance this season.
That Mancini gets the best out of him because he plays him where he plays best, and he's allowed to risk. Look, Pirlo played you everywhere. You've been played everywhere since you've been at Juventus.
He's been everywhere but goal.
You've been a right winger. You've been a left winger. You've been a center attacking midfielder. You've been a fullback. What have you done?
He's had one great game against Atletico Madrid, and now he feels like he can talk.
You've never been the same player that you were at Fiorentina. And look what happened. We bought Chiesa, who people thought was going to be the next Bernardeschi, the next big bust, because unfortunately you were a bust of a signing for us. And look at Chiesa. He hasn't only kept up that form, he's improved. So, I mean, what you need to do is prove it on the pitch. You need to give it your all, and you need to stand out and be exceptional wherever you play.
He needs to go out for the Azzurri and have a big summer, and then he needs to come back in training camp, have a good camp, and then prove yourself all over. And then
put him out the door. Goodbye.
I think the reason why he talks so much shit is because he feels secure at this club. He knows he has a contract. He knows in the end he's represented by Raiola. That if he wants to stay at Juve, he knows he can make it hard on the club, and he can stay at the club. And that's why I feel like he's talking all kinds of nonsense again. If I could get rid of Bernardeschi today, I would get rid of him, but I don't think that's going to happen. Unfortunately, I think Bernardeschi's going to stay around.
Resurfacing a little bit, there was that talk about the Bernardeschi for Romagnoli swap. Now, I wouldn't mind that personally. I would be okay with that personally if it did happen. I don't think it'll happen, but it's a way to.
Which Juventini wouldn't be okay with that? I would be okay with a swap for Bernardeschi for a bag of balls.
Get a good center back coming in too.
No, just a bag of balls. You give me a nice bag of fresh balls for practice, and maybe a couple of pylons, and you got yourself a deal.
I like it more on the flank than Frabrota, to be honest. But I'm okay keeping him there as a sub rotation.
Yeah, I like the anything more than a Frabrota.
Hey, what would you do with this, Adam? Bentancur, Ramsey, Rabiot. Who leaves?
Oh my God! Say that again. Bentancur, Ramsey.
Two of three players. Bentancur, Ramsey, and Rabiot.
Oh, Rabiot stays. Bentancur stays, no doubt. Ramsey's got to go, but that's never going to happen. Who wants to take a player with that fee? See, so many Juve teams are excited. Ramsey's going to go this summer. Is he? How are we going to get rid of him?
Speculation of Liverpool being interested in him. I doubt.
You know what I call? You know what I call Aaron Ramsey? I call him. Well, I got to give credit to our good boy Charles Barkley on the NBA on TNT, but I call him street clothes, because that's what Ramsey is always in, street clothes. Okay, we never see Ramsey on the pitch; it's always the same crap. And when he does get back on the field, we have to give him a game to get his pasta legs back under him. Yeah, it is too bad.
He's a great player. It's just
at Arsenal, he was a great box-to-box player, no doubt. But he did have those injuries at Arsenal, and
they ruined his career, unfortunately.
All right, David Bruno, it's getting to that time of the night again where I'm starting to get hungry. Any last words for the audience before we go?
Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy. And at the end of the day, we hope Juve can make some great moves to improve this club, because we're definitely hungry for next season. The season only just ended, and I already can't wait to watch again.
By the way, Dave, you sound really good this episode, and you look really good. Is there a reason for that?
I think I have a cold.
David Bruno got himself
I had to upgrade some things.
Professional microphone and professional camera, and he looks beautiful.
To upgrade a couple of things. Yeah, it wasn't the quality wasn't good enough for you guys before. You guys deserve better, so we're gonna always try to stay up on top of that and improve any parts of the show that we can.
And we got a couple of requests from audience members asking if we're available on SoundCloud and what was it? Spotify, and
so, we will be.
We will be, and we will be on Apple eventually. But for now, we will be, of course, on YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud as of this episode. Right, Dave?
Yeah, and hopefully by the next episode, we'll be on Apple Music as well.
All right, so folks, that's a wrap.
Anywhere.
That is a wrap for episode 8 of the Max Statman podcast. Hopefully, some big news will drop, and we'll come back. Maybe Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday.
Let's not give a date. Let's hoard some information, and when we have enough for you, we'll be here.
We'll do a great show, and hopefully we'll be around. Maybe me and Dave are behind the scenes talking about doing some live streams for the Euros coming up. We're going to do some live streams, take some questions. We're not sure 100% when that's going to start, but hopefully, we'll get around to that, and we'll let everybody know on the Max Statman Twitter account.
They're starting up in the next 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks. So Forza Azzurri, we've got a couple of players representing Juventus, right?
Yeah.
In Chiesa, Chiellini, Bonucci, and I'm forgetting someone. Who are we just ranting on? Bernardeschi. The man, the legend, the right winger.
And before I sign off here, I just want to tell my good friend David Bruno in Montreal that you are controlling the situation. So don't forget to end this broadcast after I say hello to all of our brothers and sisters in the great country of
Rwanda, guys, and everywhere else all on the planet. Thank you for watching.
Fino alla fin, Forza Juve.
Forza Juve.
See you next time, guys.
Have a good one.
Ciao.